Hey guys, Graybeard Gamer here. I appreciate you tuning in to watch this. Today we're going to talk about PlayStation VR 1 and 2. I have both of them, so we'll talk about both of them. I know the PSVR 2 is the new kid on the block, and in my opinion, it does live up to the billing. We're going to go over a couple of things about that. Um, the PlayStation VR 1, I was a late adopter. I haven't had it, I've had it less than a year. Got a really good deal on it, found it on Facebook Marketplace. I've actually bought a few of them. My wife has one upstairs, plays Beat Saber on it, loves it. I have one down here over this way in the game lab, as I call it, in my man cave, my game room. Gotten a real big kick out of it. So when I knew that the PSVR 2 was going to be sent out, email for invitations to purchase it for pre-order, November 15th of last year. As soon as it came, boom, went right on Sony's site and ordered that and the charging dock. Got the Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle, and I played a little bit of that, but I've also been playing other stuff. Gran Turismo 7 is the unicorn for me right now. I have it. I've played a little bit of it with the steering wheel, Logitech G923 with the shifter and all that, and it is incredible. Unfortunately, I get sick as a dog playing it, but we'll go over that in just a little bit. So where we'll start off on this, where we'll jump right in, we will go into the old one. I still like it, like I said, and I still play it. This, for all intents and purposes, will be a 1080p headset. It's not quite that, but that's kind of what they bill it as. The lenses in it, are still OLED like the new ones. It's just this doesn't have the features the new one has. The new one is a huge upgrade as far as specs. The new one weighs a little bit lighter, not much, but a lot of people will agree that this one is more comfortable. I can't say that it's not, because I think that it actually probably is, and the main reason being that it's got this foam cushion right here that they took out of the new one. It's not there. I don't sweat in this. I know a lot of people have sweated, and it makes the cover come off. That's the only design flaw with that. This is the second version of the PSVR 1. This, the VR 2. I hate to call it that, but it's the second version, where it's got, a better cable. It doesn't have the inline controls. You don't have to hook the headphones up, the earbuds. They actually hook up in here, like the new one, like the PSVR 2. A lot of similarities with the new one, as far as how you adjust the headset and tighten it up and all that good stuff. But this one, I think, is more comfortable than the new one, but I really don't have a problem with the new one. What I've done with this, you guys, if you've watched my channel in the past, you already know that I'm a big fan of the M Classic. I have promoted that, and I have an M Classic that I use in conjunction with the 4K Gamer Pro with all my consoles, the retro ones, that is. And by retro, I mean PS4 and below, PS3, Xbox 360, all that stuff. Real big fan of that. But a little known hack, or not known hack, is that you can use the M Classic with this guy to upscale it, and I'm not sure it's upscaling to 1440p because this screen isn't capable of that, but what it is doing is smoothing out the jaggies, and it's making the colors pop. So it's got a little more color saturation. It looks a little smoother. Still has screen door effect because you're not getting away from that, but it's less noticeable. So you can get those on sale a good bit of the time on Amazon for $79.99. So I urge you to check that out. But basically it plugs into the processor box for the PSVR 1. The box that everybody complains about, it's got all the wires that does the heavy lifting. It works in conjunction with a PS4 or PS5 if that's what you're using it on. But it plugs into that where the HDMI portion of the HMD cable goes, and you just piggyback it. You take your cable out of the right side, if you're on the modern version of the PSVR 1, take your cable out of the right side, plug in M Classic, plug your cable right in the back of that, piggyback. That will give you a nice boost in performance, help get you some more life out of this guy. On to the new kid. I'm not using the built-in earbuds with this one. I've got it apart because, as you see on Deadpool's head, I use the Sony headphones, and I like those. They work really well, but the earbuds are just fine too. It's just earbuds make my ear itch for whatever reason, and I don't think about it until they're in my ear. And just for whatever reason, the more you try not to think about your ears itching, the more they itch. So you end up pausing the game or whatever, plopping one out, scratching your ear, shoving it back in, and off you go. I tend to have less problem with that for whatever reason with the headphones. This is missing that nice cushion pad. It's just rubber, but it still feels okay. But a lot of people are complaining that this isn't that comfortable, and they're saying it's blurry. It's not, I promise you. This thing, is it going to be as clear as your nice OLED hanging up on your wall, your 4K TV or 8K TV? No. But for VR, it's come a long way since the last one. That's really impressive. I did a little test. My wife, like I said, all she plays is Beat Saber. That's mostly what she uses it for. I've got her own PlayStation 4 upstairs, and she plays Beat Saber. So what I did is I loaded up Moss, and if you haven't played Moss, it's really good. It's a really fantastic game, little platformer. Nice little story. You actually get attached to the character. Both book 1 and 2 are fantastic. I played them both in their entirety. Liked them so much, when I knew there was going to be a remaster for the PSVR2, I instantly purchased pre-order for it. And I loaded up Moss, the first one, on the PSVR 1, which again, mine's hacked, so it's got a little bit more fidelity than your standard PSVR 1. It looks a little better. I loaded that up and played it, and just the intro scene, started the game over, intro scene where Quill, the mouse, the main character, comes out, and you see, she's by the water where the reader, your character, is sitting, and she looks up at you, but then there's a bird that flies down, swoops by your head. That scene, it's the opening scene. I was just, looking all around, soaking in, the environment, how it looked. Paused it, let it still run, went over to the PS5 on the PSVR 2, and loaded up Moss Book 1, same scene. And first thing I noticed is it's tremendously brighter, and it is popping with detail. And when that same bird dives down at you, the headset has haptic feedback up here. Your head rumbles like the bird just fluttered by you. I thought that was cool right off the bat. What else? So I had my wife come down. I wanted to show her the difference. I was like, look, what do you think? Because I play VR a decent bit, things other than Beat Saber. So I wanted her opinion on it, and believe it or not, she played the PSVR 1, had Quill walking around, and then put on the 2, and she goes, I like the first one better. I said, really? She goes, yeah, it's I like the lighting better. And I said, okay. She said, well, it looks more like a forest. It's dark, and you just see the light kind of coming through the trees, and I kind of got what she was saying. So, but then I had to put on the PSVR 2 back, and she goes, okay, wow, all right. Yeah, I see the difference. The PSVR 2 is a lot clearer. So I had her a couple of times compare back and forth. And she goes, okay, there's a lot more. I had her bring Quill up to her. She could actually see the details of the face and the body and the sword and all that. And granted, she hasn't had this fitted to her IPD, the distance between your eyes and the eye tracking. It's going off of my settings for my blockhead here. So I asked her if it was clear. She said it was, but who knows? She probably wasn't seeing it in its best light. But lo and behold, I ended up putting on the PSVR 1, looking at Moss, and I did like the lighting better. So what I did is I went back into the settings for the PSVR 2, and I dimmed those panels down, and I like the results better, at least for Moss. I like it a little dark. I mean, it looks like you're out in the forest a little more than just cooking your retinas with the brightest sunshine. A little more believable with it darker. So that may be something you want to do with yours. I'm laying up here scratching my foot. You ever have your foot itching and just can't find the right spot? You want to like stab an ink pen or something down your sock and your shoe and go after it. So a complaint that people are having about this, they say, oh, it's a blurry image. Maybe it is. I'm not them. I can't say, but I can tell you what you're supposed to do. So let me use Deadpool's head here for an example. So the way Sony wants you to put this on is you push this button in the back, you release this, you bring it out, you stick it over his head, or your head, and you go down to the back of where your head rolls and it meets your neck. That's where they want this to set. Now let's get it straight on his head. So you get it like that, and once you get it like that, you click it to make it tight. And that should give you your sweet spot. So if you don't find the sweet spot, it's going to look blurry. And at any time, you can go back, once you get it on your head where you think it's right, and you can adjust it. You can play around with the settings, and you get the IPD set right and dialed in. And you should be able to get it just dialed in perfectly. You got to remember, it's got new technology. It has foveated rendering, I believe that's how you pronounce it, where it tracks your eyes. It knows what you're looking at. It focuses in on that, and it'll blur the peripheral. The periphery is going to be, a little bit fuzzy because you're not looking at it. You don't need that much detail. As soon as you shift your gauge to that spot, it focuses on that and gives you the best image. So anytime you're moving, and it tracks your eye movement like crazy. You'll see that in the setup. If you've already have it, you know what I'm talking about, but you'll see it in the setup. It has you look all around the screen, and it follows your eyes. The eyes will light up as you look at it. And they're using that in games already, and that is just cool as hell to me. So I still got this on Deadpool's head crooked. He don't give a damn. He's an inanimate head unless you turn him on. Let's see what he's got to say today.
Initializing Weapon X protocol. Kill all flat stand humans. Whoa, that was weird. All Hasbro severed Deadpool heads, and I love humans. Must be bad programming.
Okay, so that's enough out of you, Mr. Poole.
I feel dusty. Am I dusty?
Yeah, a little. Now that you mention it. Alright, night-night. So let's take this off. Go over a couple more things. So, gone is the need for an external camera like the PS4 needed, or the PSVR1 I should say. No external camera. There's no need, if I turn this guy on, you'll see I've got the disconnect box turned off, but the back ones are lit. I don't know if you can see that on this camera or not. It's blue. But there's no need for the lights to be on because it doesn't have to track the headset using lights anymore. Which also means the new controllers, there's no DualShock that has to light up for it to track it like with Astrobot. There's no need for the motion controllers to light up like you did for Beat Saber or whatever. That is gone. It handles it all through these 4 cameras. On each corner you see the 4 cameras. So it does that. So that is inside out tracking. So there's no more need to have the camera. There's no need to have any of that. This has a greater field of view by 10 degrees over the old one. The old one's 100 degrees. This is 110, it's a little better. This is not technically a 4K display, but that's what we'll label it. It's close, but it's per eye, so it's it's not 4K per eye. It's 2000 something or another by whatever, it's close. So just for purposes of keeping it easy, 1080 4K. So it's a lot noticeable difference in resolution. Again, it's not going to beat your ultra 4K HD TV. It's not going to beat that. It's not going to match it. Maybe one day, but we're not there yet. But has it come a long way? Insanely long way. It's also got a little cooling fan or a vent or something in there supposed to keep you from fogging up. Does that help? Maybe. I haven't really super noticed yet, which brings me to where we're heading next. We're going to go over important things with any VR. Clean them. Keep it simple. Microfibers. Unlike the last PSVR, the new one does not come with a cleaning cloth. Get you some on Amazon. This is a, what is it, a 10 pack maybe, or a 12 pack? I think it's a 12 pack. It's under $6. Get you that. Keep them clean. Use one, put it up, put it in a Ziploc bag, keep the dust off of it so you don't scratch your lenses when it gets dusty. When it gets used a few times, wash it, open you another one. Simple. Keep the smudges off of it, because they get smudged even if you don't touch them. They're going to get smudged. It's I don't know how it happens. Sit over here for a minute, Deadpool. Let's go over some controllers, shall we? Here's the new controllers. You basically grip them, put your hands through them. The one thing that I will say, if you have larger hands, and I don't have long hands, I don't have long fingers, I've got hot dog fingers, I got Shrek fingers. But for anybody, with longer fingers, if you're an NBA player, for example, pushing the PlayStation button, let you see if that'll focus. Pushing the PlayStation button with your thumb, for me, is kind of a pain, because this has to come up, and it kind of, I don't know, you have to reposition your hand to even do it, to push it. But other than that, the triggers are the same as on the DualSense controller for your PS5. In games like Horizon Call of the Mountain, it detects when your fingers are on the actual body of the controller. So when you do that, you'll see your character's hands open up when you take them off, which is cool. But the feedback is great. It's got the adaptive triggers and all that stuff. Big fan of them. The only thing I don't like about them is for drum games, or Beat Saber or something like that. There's a game that's on PSVR2 called Drum Rocks, I think is what it's called. And it just seems weird to use these as drums. It's like you really want something that feels like a drumstick. Same with Beat Saber. You want something that feels like a lightsaber. So that's where, I'll give the old Move controllers credit for that. So here's the old Move controllers. So if you're Beat Sabering and whatnot, it just feels natural. Now, for drum games, you can obviously see how this would be better. Wasn't that cool? That feels like drumsticks to me. That's a much better way to do it. And you can bring in traffic, the landing strip. You can use it for that. So that is cool. Now these don't have, as far as I can recall, I don't think these have any force feedback at all. So it misses that, but whatever. That's controllers. That's something else I was going to say about the PSVR2. Don't remember what it was. Do you? Help a guy out. What was it? Price? No, you already know it's expensive. But if you go back to like inflation, PSVR 1 came out, what, 2016? I think when it first came out it was close to $500. So for inflation, maybe it's about the same. I don't know. Either way, you have to have the console. You have to have hardware to go with it. Wasn't that? What was it? Let me stare at this guy. What is your secret? What was it I was going to talk about but forgot? Something over here. Oh well. I remember. Cool feature this thing has. See that button right there? See it? If you're wearing this sucker on your noggin and you want to, grab a sip of Gatorade, but you can't find it fumbling around, you press that button. Or say you want to pick up a controller Or say you want to get up and if your cord's long enough, go take a leak. I don't know what you do. I'm not watching. You push that button. It's going to let you see your surroundings. It's in black and white, but it's a crystal clear picture for the most part. You can look around and see what's going on. Oh, there it is. There's my Gatorade. Or there's my 2-liter that I drank last week that I'm going to use now for a piss jug because I don't want to go, break my Call of Duty streak or whatever. Call of Duty's not been on here. Why'd I say that? Gran Turismo. I don't want to get up from Gran Turismo out of my driving simulator that I spent a mortgage payment on. I'm just going to piss in this bucket like a race car driver does. I'm going to piss in this RC cola bottle, put the lid tight on it, and put it back down in case, it gets kicked over. I don't want piss in my carpet. I mean, who would? Do you want piss in your carpet? You know how hard it is to get piss out of carpet? My God. My dogs have done that, and it's like they know it's there. You clean it up, you put the rug doctor on it, you spray the chemicals, they still know it's there because they marked it. They'll still go piss on it again because, hey, that's my patch of carpet. You go find your own carpet to piss on, bud. And, they showed you. That's just how it goes. All right, what else? Nausea. I told you, Gran Turismo 7, as incredible as it is, I can only go like a couple of laps and I'm ready to get off that ride. I'm ready to blow chunks. And it's driving me nuts. So I've resorted to some remedies maybe. So we'll go over a couple of those. So already with the PSVR1, I actually bought this little headband. It's a sweat band. So it goes on your skull thusly around your sweaty forehead and your nose and all that, and that kind of helps you from fogging up. Nothing really to do with being nauseous, but since I'm giving out little hacks, get you these are on Amazon too. These fans are great. On the original PSVR 1 and the 2 actually, they have a little bit of a gap that you can turn this little neck fan on. So you turn it on. This is like on the lowest setting. Can you hear that? So you stick this little fella around your neck, point it up. That's cooling already. Love it. So that helps. They say if you have wind in your face or whatever, it helps not get sick. I got a ceiling fan above us too, but thinking about putting a little, like a fan here, a little oscillating fan maybe, but not oscillate it, just make it point on me all the time. Maybe that'll be like I'm driving. Who knows? Maybe that'll help. So these guys are like $8, $10. I don't know. They're cheap. It's got a battery in it, but it's rechargeable. A little USB port right there. I think it's a micro. Yeah. So when it croaks, which it will, because it's Chinese junk. Nothing against Chinese people, but a lot of stuff they make obviously using that child labor so they can make it cheap. We exploit them. Throw it out and get you another one. On over to something else. A company called PSI. They make these little motion sickness bands like C bands. So the trick is you put it on your wrist and they have you go 2.5 fingers down from your hand on your wrist. It's about where you wear a watch. And you go in between your two tendons there. You'll feel that. So the trick is this little ball is supposed to rest there and you can adjust it in and out. You can run it in or out to put acupressure on your wrist. And it's supposed to stop you from getting sick. I'm going to try those today. Don't know if it's going to work. My wife says it's not going to work. But she's a Debbie Downer anyway, so even if they don't work, I'm going to tell her they work just so she's not right. So that's those. Comes with 2, and they say wear both of them. There's other ones out there that say just wear one, but I guess I'll wear both. I'll take off my smartwatch and put on these Psi bands. I will tell you the package that came in from Amazon looked like it had already been opened, so maybe they don't work. But whatever, $10 or something like that. It's worth a shot. That's that. Move on to the next thing of note. Dramamine, bonine. I got bonine because it's got a certain ingredient in it that's supposed to be a little better. Doesn't cause as much drowsiness. Up to 24 hours protection. I think it's supposed to take like an hour before you think you might be blowing chunks. But it's got this ingredient that regular Dramamine doesn't have, which is meclizine. Let's say if you take one with meclizine, it's better. So I got these. Let me try those. Another little thing. Ginger gum. They say ginger ale helps, so if you want to have a nice, cool, chilled beverage at your side, drink a little of that. Which, you know, I remember always as a kid, if your stomach was upset or if you were feeling sick or queasy, they say drink ginger ale. So maybe there's something to that with ginger. So I've got this ginger gum because I say chewing gum helps, and then if ginger helps, why not chew ginger gum? Ginger's supposed to relieve nauseousness, even though I used to date a girl named Ginger, and the thought of her makes me nauseous, so I don't know. Up for debate, we'll see. Another tidbit, nothing to do with getting your VR legs, nothing to do with nauseousness, nothing to do with really anything other than this little guy here, if you can see that. It's a little doodad that will keep you from pulling your PlayStation 5 off its stand in the midst of your extreme VRing. It is a magnetized adapter. So the USB-C port on the front where your PSVR plugs into, it grips pretty tight. It's like Chinese fingers almost. Chinese handcuffs. Chinese finger cuffs. You plug the adapter into that, and then plug your PSVR into the other portion of it. Then stick it on there magnetically. It's got enough bandwidth that it doesn't affect the image or the throughput or any of that. It handles, what do they say? 10 gigs of data, I think, bandwidth, which is more than enough to run the headset. I can't take credit for this. Saw it on a Facebook group. Somebody else bought it. And then I'm so impressionable. Of course, I ordered it on the spot. And it does work. Works good. The brand is ISKEY. ISKEY. USB-C magnetic adapter. 20-pin USB-C magnetic adapter. If you want a part number, which may help you find it easier on Amazon, at least in the US, it's X003C PIZ7L. X003C PIZ7L. Magnetic USB-C adapter, 20. More type pin, type C, I don't know. More devices, gray. So there you go. That's a little hack for your PSVR 2. Okay, your 2. So with that said, I'm going to release some more content at some point in the future, talking about God knows what. Probably some more M Classic stuff, or I may even talk about those little fans that I use in my bed to keep my fat butt cool from my menopause. Check that video out. Bee fan, it's a great thing. You can get night sweats, or your significant other gets night sweats. It's a great thing to use. So check out that. It's a weird thing to see on a video game channel, if that's what you want to call me. Not really. I just go over, you know, stuff that I like. Even though it is called Graybeard Gamer, not Graybeard sleeps in a bed with a fan. But whatever. It's what it is. No judgment. So, appreciate you guys watching. Peace out. See you next time.